Right, so I couldn't do much comparisons with the AKG C214, so the only microphone that I really want to compare that microphone is to this guy, the Lewitt 440. Why? Because NT1 is quite a very neutral sounding microphone, so that's definitely going to sound better probably than the C214 for people like myself who are fans of neutral sound signature. Then I have the MK4, I have the WA47 Junior, a very, very good sounding microphone. I think that's going to trash that pretty well. And then comes the 440. I think the 440 is pretty bright microphone, something that I don't really appreciate. But it is what it is, and this doesn't have much color, but it's got those piercing brightness sounds. So here is the Lewitt 440. So I think one microphone that I don't really use a lot is the 440 because of obvious reasons. I don't really appreciate how Lewitt, but whatever. So Lewitt ventured out of AKG and then they forayed into making their own microphones, but they somehow retained that piercing sound signature from AKG, which is still very evident in their Perception series. The P220, the P120 especially is a very, very bright microphone. Had it for like 2 days and I was like having a headache after that. Yeah, 440 here. Yeah, I'm hand holding it 5 inches away, gain approximately 55%, hitting -13, -11. This is how it sounds. Next up in this comparison, I have the Sennheiser MK4. I think the S's here are a little bit more piercing, but somehow I have liked how this microphone has sounded so far in my voice. I use it quite often, to be honest. I do it for a lot of podcasts as well. I've just carried it out once or twice for being a guest on certain episodes of certain shows, and I did not mind it. To be honest, this requires full 48 volts, etc. It's a large diaphragm condenser microphone from Sennheiser, but I think I like what Sennheiser does with their sounds. Obviously, the Sennheiser S's are a little bit more pronounced here, especially even after hearing the Lewitt, but I have to hear this all back in order to properly judge these microphones. I'm in a completely untreated space right now, so you get the idea, and I have quite a few comparisons going in here, so let's just get over with them pretty fast. My gain at 3 o'clock, I'm hand holding it 5 inches away, 48 volts phantom power, connected to my Audient ID4 Mark II. There's only one channel, so this is how it really sounds. The Sennheiser MK4. I think the AKG is a little bit more smoother sounding than the Sennheiser. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, one of my most favorite microphones that I own, and sometimes I just refrain using this microphone because I'm scared of the background noise, obviously. But now we have to do this comparison with all this background noise, the construction crappy stuff that's going on around me. But I'm usually scared of using this microphone because someday if this goes bad, I am not in a position to buy this again because it's unavailable. Also, its price has gone up by 2 times here. Why? I have no ideas. Probably people just loved how this sounds. They're ruining my comparisons, but I don't mind. You still get the sound signature. They're just going quiet for a while. Nothing has changed. The gain has increased a bit. My gain has been increased to 4 o'clock. Damn, this is a gain-hungry microphone. And this is how the Warm Audio WA47 Junior sounds. It has quite a few bell whistles. It's got the stereo mode, it's got the figure 8, it's got the Omni, it's got the cardioid. I'm on cardioid. It's got a pad, not engaged. It's got a high-pass filter, not engaged. Warm Audio WA47 Junior. Next up is probably one of my most favorite microphones that I currently own in my mic locker. Now, this is the NT2A from Rode. If you're a fan of a little bit brightness on your microphones, I think this is great, but it also balances out the low end and the mids as well. So it's not very mid-heavy. It's kind of a V-shaped sound, pronounced low end, covering all those highs. Now, there is no high-pass filter involved here, the cardioid pattern, there is no pads involved here, 48 volts of phantom power, hand-holding this one, same space, untreated stuff, everything is same, nothing has changed. This is how it's all sounding. Well, I feel that the 214 is a little bit more polished sound than this one, but personally a lot of people have complimented me that, they really enjoy the NT2A on my voice, and well, here is the NT2A, and this is how it really sounds. Alright, if we talk about smooth sounding microphones, here is one that is absolutely my favorite in my arsenal. Here is the KSM32 from Shure. It's a great sounding microphone. Some people have complained of sibilance on this microphone, but the other day Mr. Ducky was making a point on his server. He said, most or all of these condenser microphones suffer from sibilance. I kind of agree. Reason is more open sound signature, detailed high end. Also, It's just built that way, large diaphragm, and they have been tuned in a certain way because primarily they focus on recording vocals that could cut out of the mix. So sibilance is a byproduct of enhancing that high end. It comes in. So people can evaluate these microphones for the purposes of voiceovers or podcasting or whatever. I don't know if somebody would buy this $500+ microphone. I don't know how much it is in the US right now, the KSM32. Let me check the price. So KSM32 Sweetwater, because Sweetwater is kind of a representation of the, it's a $650 microphone. $650. Damn. $650, and if it doesn't sound like that, yeah, it's trashy. And if you're talking god tier microphones, here is one of the Greek gods that I have. Greek gods? It's a German god. Do Germans have gods? I don't know. It's just one. This is the Neumann 102, TLM 102 from Neumann. Does this beat the AKG C214? Yes, it does. But I think a very comparable microphone with the C214 has to be the KSM32. The smoothness quotient on that thing is amazing. However, the Neumann has exceptional darkness. It's got the highs, and sometimes the S's can be piercing on this one as well. But I believe that the 214 holds its ground in front of these microphones, although a very worthy comparison with the Neumann microphones for the TLM 102 or 103 has to be the C414 and not the C214 or even the C314, but it is what it is. Here is the 102 from Neumann. Gain has risen to approximately 430. This microphone is really gain hungry, but it's a dark horse, and I love this guy. So my primary voiceover microphone, if I have to do commercial stuff, my go-to microphone. I don't look anywhere else, or this or the NT1, and all else are just kind of lying there somewhere in the middle. Mostly I use those microphones for podcasting. I've used this microphone for podcasting very little, because I did not buy this for podcasting. This is my go-to voiceover microphone. And you know why? You can hear it right now in your headphones or earpieces or whatever you have. 102, ladies and gentlemen. 102. And now, in the end, it's like coming back home. You're listening to me on the NT1. It's like, it's like the meal that you have every day. It's your comfort food. So this microphone is my comfort food. When I go nowhere, I go to the NT1. It's my go-to microphone for podcasting, etc. Voiceovers, sometimes yes. A lot of the times, no. Voiceovers, most times Neumann. For podcasting, condenser podcasting, most of the times NT1. And other $100 guys that I have, sometimes I use those. But for most times, for podcasting also, I think I prefer using some dynamic microphones, but I do use my dynamic microphones a little lesser than my condenser microphones these days, even for podcasting. So here is the NT1. Gain has obviously changed. 50% gain now, 3 o'clock, approximately lesser than that. You can hear the darkness of this microphone just a little. It's not dark actually, it's a flat kind of a tonality. But I can hear the T's and the S's. So this is the SSS situation here. I'm not blowing the S's onto the diaphragm just blindedly. It's just there. So it's how I speak my S's normally. And how does this compare to the AKG? I think very uncolored, and the AKG seems to be very colored. Although AKG, again, it's not an unpleasant microphone. Particularly for my voice, I think the AKG does the job pretty well. So here is the NT1. Every time I include the NT1 in any of my comparisons in microphones now, I think I am really saddened to know that this is no more. And yes, quite literally, this is no more. This sound is no more the official NT1 sound. It's changed. They've brought in that stupid 5th generation NT1 microphone, which is crappy. It's a diluted NT1. Don't know why they had to do it, but they did it. Terrible. So back to the basics. I'm now using the AKG C214. This is, and these people won't let me enjoy my comparisons, but I would nonetheless not stop doing them. So here is the microphone. Usually what I do is I start off with a certain microphone, which I'm trying to compare to other microphones that I have, and those microphones follow. And then there is a conclusion by this microphone. This time things are different. I am not comparing this microphone from the very beginning. I have positioned or recorded or placed those other recordings before this. So after concluding everything else, you're coming back to the C214. It's a good sounding microphone. I've obviously kept it, retained it, I've not returned it. Somehow I think this microphone kind of works better in untreated spaces. I don't know, probably because of its sound signature. And the S's are a little bit more pronounced on this one, but you can clearly hear the coloration in the S's. I think they've done a little bit of EQ in such a manner that it also sounds a little bit compressed also, right out of the box. Don't know if it's good or bad, but if you're in a situation where you need to have a condenser microphone recording, say you have a treated space and you need a condenser recording and you don't want to do much EQ compression, compression is recommended as you should compress, because for all the volume leveling, etc., because other people can probably be not using those good headphones that you have. Or vice versa, probably you're using inferior headphones and the others will use better headphones than you, so there should be at least some leveling, some peak leveling to make it pop more or shine more. Then of course you can do a little bit of EQ, but in a punch, if you don't want to do much, hook this microphone up and you are good to go. You have a recording that is perfectly polished, well-rounded, nice sounding recording, condenser microphone, probably a podcast, casual instrument recording, casual voiceover, casual singing. Well, this is actually meant for serious singing and serious voiceovers. But some microphones are really not talked about more on YouTube or other mediums where people get really influenced by information provision. This guy is one of them. The 47 Junior is one of them, and NT2A. I think people talk very little about the NT2A and how good that microphone can sound on some voices, and most voices, I think. People just think that, okay, not the NT1, not the NT1A, let's get the NT2A because it's got, best of both worlds. Not entirely wrong, but there's more to it. With the NT2A, you get a different sound signature which builds up on the NT1 and the NT1A. And now it also builds up on the NT1 5th generation, which is, I don't know. They've reduced the quality of that microphone. They've lowered the sound. They've lowered the component quality. They've obviously lowered the price. So probably it justifies lowering everything else when you lower the price. I don't know. Here is the C214. Here are some comparisons for you.